Welcome to SVG-TV's Evening News and Sports for Wednesday, November 21st, or that should be 20th, 2013. On the local scene, my name is Carol Cato. On the local scene, 16,000 pounds of fish, the largest single quantity since the early 90s, will be shipped to the United States tomorrow. Minister of Agriculture Samoto Caesar made this announcement at a media conference earlier today. Caesar noted that the discussions for the shipment began 3 months ago and with an entrepreneur in the U.S., and it concluded with the purchasing of vacuum-packed goods and fish. The minister said since then they were able to send off a 40-foot container of vacuum-packed commodities, the largest single shipment at any time.
And this will be transshipped by Tropical to Miami and then trucked up to New York, where the entrepreneur has his business. This program started with a series of consultations in the Grenadines. We had meetings in Bequia, we had meetings in Canawan, we had meetings in Newland Island, and we also had a meeting at Calico, at Owea, and in Barley.
According to Caesar, the ministry is continuing to look for new markets for the farmers and fisherfolk here.
We are seeing where in 3 months that our marketing efforts in the United States of America and are working with the fisherfolk in the Grenadines and at different areas in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is bearing significant fruit. We would have experimented on the shipping of this very small volume of fish recently via Trinidad and Tobago, utilizing the Amerijet. However, because of the delay over in Trinidad and Tobago, we did not think it practical. Therefore, that is why now we are going to ship the fish using the containers at Tropical to the United States of America.
The Agriculture Minister also said that the black sigatoka disease is said to be under control here. This week, the ministry is expecting the 5th aerial spraying for the year to be conducted and another cycle in the second to last week in December.
For 2013, we would have been able to complete the targeted 6 cycles. What is going to happen is that there is going to be a reassessment at the end of the year. There are different strategies which are being implemented in different countries, which are continuing their fight against black sigatoka as well. We are going to firstly assess the impact of the 6 aerial cycles with the intention of either increasing the number of aerial cycles in 2014, or we are going to look at the periods of the year where there are an increase in terms of the flaring up of the disease.
Caesar further stated that the ministry was also able this year to enhance their ground spraying team to keep the plant disease from spreading.
Traditionally, we had 2 vehicles assigned to the ground crew, but we would have enhanced that by adding an additional team, and many farmers would have benefited significantly from this. We are also continuing for the rest of the year into 2014 the cutting back of abandoned fields. This method has definitely brought significant success to the control of the black leaf spot, and it will definitely continue.
Further steps are being taken here towards the implementation of the National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan in keeping with the Convention on Biological Diversity. Delivering his welcoming remarks at the launching ceremony, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Louis Deschong, describes the project as a very important initiative which promises enormous benefits to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Deschong further explains that biodiversity provides a large number of goods and services that will help sustain life, making Earth a uniquely habitable place.
Biodiversity is the term used to describe the variety of life on Earth and the natural patterns it forms. It also includes genetic differences within each species, differences between varieties of crops and breeds of livestock, chromosomes, genes, etc. And it has been established that DNA determines the uniqueness of each individual and each species. Ladies and gentlemen, deserts, forests, wetlands, mountains, lakes, rivers, and agricultural landscapes, living creatures, including humans, of course, help to make up the different ecosystems in which we exist and form a community, interacting with one another and with the air, water, and soil around them.
Dishong says biodiversity has many importances, which includes serving as a vital source of food and income.
The world's poor, particularly in rural areas, depend on biological resources for as much as 90% of their needs, including food, fuel, medicine, shelter, and transportation. 70% of the world's poor live in rural areas and depend directly on biological diversity for their livelihoods. Biodiversity serves as an important source of food and income to rural households and is an important source of alternative foods during periods of scarcity. The impact of environmental degradation is more severe among the rural population living in poverty, since they have few livelihood options. Therefore, access to and sustainable use of biodiversity by the poor are of direct relevance to efforts aimed at poverty reduction.
And Dishong says biodiversity is also important in efforts geared towards poverty eradication, sustaining the economy, and generating income.
At the ecosystem level, biodiversity provides the conditions and drives the processes which sustain the global economy and for our very survival. Disrupting the diversity of plant and animal life can therefore have dire repercussions for the world economy. If there is growing awareness on the value and importance of biodiversity, there is a lack of consensus on how it can be measured. Biodiversity offers the potential to place unique products on the market and to generate income for local communities. Many of these products are very valuable, yet their sale seldom benefits the people who harvest them.
Vincentians are being told that it is never too early to start planning for retirement. This advice comes from Country Manager of First Citizens Investment Services, Norland Gabriel, who was addressing a symposium yesterday evening on retirement planning. According to Gabriel, persons should consider retirement a retirement plan when they start their first job, noting that the younger one starts to save, the better it will be when they're ready to retire.
If you are 20 years old and you start saving for retirement now, the amount that you have to put aside is so minuscule, rather than if you were to wait until you were 35 or 45, then it becomes a huge chunk from your pocket to be able to reach the goals that you set for retirement.
She further advises that when one thinks of retirement, they should consider their income level and the type of retirement lifestyle they would like to live.
When you retire, nobody intends to change their lifestyle or go to a lower level of living than they had gotten accustomed to. So if you want to be able to maintain that lifestyle, you have to really seriously consider what are the accumulation goals that you should set for yourself in order to do so.
Men and women here are encouraged to celebrate and embrace their differences. We have more stories on the local scene when the evening news continues. Welcome back to the evening news. Rather than competing for superiority amongst genders, both men and women are being encouraged to celebrate and embrace their differences. Speaking at a symposium here yesterday to commemorate International Men's Day, Assistant Coordinator of Gender Affairs, Anton Caesar, told the gathering to respect the fact that each gender has intrinsic worth, importance, and usefulness.
This way, we ensure that women and men will experience equality in their responsibilities, careers, family time, and opportunities. Our sportsmen are often tagged by the media as significant male role models. Whilst this may be true to some degree, I don't think we should give particularly the bad examples of drug taking to males and females who are heroes and are seen abusing. The honor of having an influence on our children. There will never be an important role model in a child's life than his or her father.
He further encouraged the men to be more involved in their children's lives. As research has shown, it results in a positive child.
This includes enhanced self-confidence, high educational attainment, fewer accidental and premature deaths, less substance abuse, less distress, great well-being, marital stability and happiness, and less hospital submissions. The research also shows evidence that children mimic their fathers over their mothers when it comes to healthy eating and exercising.
Meantime, Minister of Gender Affairs Frederick Stevenson is encouraging citizens to play a role in ensuring that boys from every background in society are given equal opportunities for a good education so they can grow and develop to be tomorrow's role models.
Here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the education revolution, the one laptop per child policy, and universal access to education generally affords everyone that opportunity. I urge our boys to grab education, and as the Trinidadian Calypsonian gypsy sung some years ago, and I would just paraphrase it, little boys go to school and learn. And the mighty sparrow sang many years before, children go to school and learn well, otherwise later on in life you will catch real hell.
As St. Vincent and the Grenadines joined the rest of the world in commemorating Universal Children's Day, great emphasis is being placed on protecting children as a means of preserving the country's future. Speaking at a prayer breakfast and consultation in Kingstown earlier today, Wycliffe Otian of UNICEF says protecting the children is in keeping with the teachings of God, adding that children are the greatest resource a country can have.
Not the tax proceeds that we have, not the spices in any island, not the oil that we have, not the tourism industry. It is the children. And we are here to speak as part of a broader global campaign on breaking the silence against violence for children. We should ask ourselves why we have come to speak on this subject, because silence is indeed destroying our children. It is destroying our society and indeed destroying the very foundation of our future.
Otian challenged the adults, particularly the parents and grandparents, to ensure children are protected and help them in becoming good, responsible citizens.
Let us appreciate that children did not bring themselves onto the face of this earth, that we are the channels having been chosen by God to bring them forth through his procreative power in within us. And therefore we do have a responsibility to care for them until they grow into adults able to take care of themselves and in turn of their children.
And Pastor Sylvester King of the National Commission on Crime Prevention told the gathering that the protection of children against all forms of violence is a fundamental right of the child.
Violence hampers a child's development, learning abilities, and school performance. It also inhibits positive relationships, provokes low self-esteem, emotional distress and depression, and at times leads to risk-taking. Violence takes place at all contexts, including where children are expected to enjoy a secure environment. And as such, we need to take care. And I call on us as leaders, and interestingly, as persons who have the welfare of our children at heart, I call on us to do all that is in our power to stop all forms of violence against our children.
For the 7th consecutive year, Vincentians can look forward to the staging of CanFest, this year under the theme, Each One Help One, Build a Better Vinci Land. Speaking at the launch of the event yesterday in Kingstown, marketing and public relations consultant and founder of Ignite, Candace Seeley, says the Lime Scotiabank CanFest will take place on Friday, December 13th at the Victoria Park, featuring reggae icon Richie Spice.
The Lime Scotiabank CanFest continues on its mission to bring the Christmas spirit to the less fortunate. It once again recommits to its goal of providing food for the needy living amongst us. Since its inception, over 200,000 cans of food have changed and saved the lives of the less fortunate. This year, cans of food will be distributed to the St. Benedict's Nursery, the Salvation Army, the House of Hope, and the Red Cross, among other organizations. Lime Scotiabank CanFest 2013 won't be complete without entertainment. Leading the musical acts will be international reggae artist Richie Spice, who gained popularity in the mid-1990s. Supporting him will be a host of exciting local artists whose names will be released later, along with a dance-off competition and some of SVG's top DJs.
Seeley says the 3 cans of food will again allow persons entry into the event.
In the spirit of giving, Lime Scotiabank CanFest will also be rewarding persons that have tickets for the event. Each person that receives a ticket gains automatic entry into a draw to win various prizes, including a 30-inch flat-screen TV. There will also be other giveaways and surprises via social media and other mediums.